Welcome to the Mystery and History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Sharon Tate, an actress and symbol of the 1960s, had one of her last images recorded on August 6, 1969, a few days before she lost her life alongside others in an episode involving the Manson family. The event caused major reaction in the United States and marked the end of an era in Hollywood. Sharon Tate represented the style and vibrant culture of the 1960s while starring in Don't Make Waves, filmed in August 1966, which reflected the decade's modern and innovative spirit. Her work helped strengthen the image of young actresses in Hollywood during an era of major social and artistic changes. Anne Frank and her sister Margot were photographed on the beach at Zandvoort in 1940, shortly before their family sought refuge from measures imposed by the German regime during World War II. The record preserves a moment from the sisters' youth before the events that would make Anne a worldwide symbol of memory and resistance. The only known photograph of President John F. Kennedy beside Marilyn Monroe, taken in 1962, represents a moment that brings together political power and the glamour of American pop culture. This image reflects Cold War tension and the rise of media, symbolizing the complexity of the social and political relationships of the time. Jane Birkin, an iconic artist of the 1970s, rehearses a balancing act for the Artists' Union Gala in 1973, an event that brought artistic talent together for cultural celebrations in prestigious settings. Her performance highlighted the meeting point of music, cinema, and performance, influencing the cultural scene of the time. Jane Mansfield, a famous actress of the 1960s, appears beside Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, in 1966, along with young Mariska Hargitay, then a child. This photo symbolizes the meeting of pop culture and emerging countercultural movements that challenged the social and religious norms of the time. Indira Gandhi, as Prime Minister of India, inspected troops after victory in the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971, which led to the country's independence from East Pakistan. This conflict reshaped South Asian geopolitics, strengthened Indian influence, and changed the regional balance. Amelia Earhart, an aviation pioneer, prepared in 1937 for her flight around the world aboard the Lockheed Model 10E Electra, an important milestone for women in aviation. The expedition revealed technical and human challenges, drew global attention, and expanded the role of women in male-dominated fields. Queen Elizabeth carefully inspected the flight and ground crews at the Royal Air Force Warboys Base in Cambridgeshire in February 1944, during World War II. The visit boosted the morale of service members involved in operations with the Avro Lancaster, an important aircraft in British missions of that period. In 1943, during the World War II, actress Veronica Lake led a campaign warning about safety risks in factory work, especially for women in industrial roles. By showing how long hair could be dangerous near machines, she reinforced the importance of protective rules. Marlene Dietrich, a film icon and active supporter of Allied troops, was celebrated in New York in 1945 when soldiers lifted her up, symbolizing the connection between art and war at the end of World War II. Her presence raised fighters' morale, emphasizing culture's role in the war effort. Bette Davis, co-founder of the Hollywood Canteen in 1942, helped provide moral support to soldiers during World War II through social events in Hollywood. The place became a symbol of solidarity between celebrities and service members, offering entertainment and hope in difficult times. In 1942, Forrest Cooper, Jules Stein, Ali Barra, Bette Davis, and John Garfield created the Hollywood Canteen, a club meant to entertain and support soldiers during World War II. The space marked civilian involvement in cultural mobilization, offering leisure and comfort to service members during the war. Betty Page, an icon of the 1950s, was photographed by Franklin Acker in 1955 wearing a red polka dot bikini in a color image made with Kodachrome film, a pioneering technology at the time. The photo shows the transition in swimwear and the popularity of color slides, influencing women's style after the war. John Garfield, co-founder of the Hollywood Canteen, a support service for soldiers during World War II, is shown in 1943 serving milk to Judy Garland. The place lifted troop morale by bringing movie stars together to support the war effort, symbolizing unity between celebrities and the military. Marlene Dietrich, an icon of film and music, took part in the Hollywood Canteen in 1943, a place created to cheer up soldiers during World War II. By dancing with a French sailor, she symbolized essential moral support for fighters, strengthening the bond between artists and the military during the war effort. Rita Hayworth, a film icon of the 1940s, helped organize the premiere of Hollywood Canteen in 1944, a film showing a club that supported soldiers during World War II by holding events to raise troop morale. This initiative honored patriotic effort and connected entertainment with the wartime spirit. Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman cosmonaut, gave an insignia to Neil Armstrong in 1970, symbolizing a gesture of recognition between the Soviet and American space programs during the Cold War. This meeting marked a rare moment of cooperation amid intense competition for supremacy in space. Bessie Coleman faced racial segregation that kept her from studying aviation in the United States, leading her to learn French and earn her pilot license in France in 1922. This pioneering achievement opened the way for future generations of Black women in aviation, challenging the social and racial barriers of the time. Brigitte Bardot symbolized freedom and French cinema during the social transformations of the late 1960s and early 1970s. In 1970, on the set of Les Novices, she strengthened her career with roles that challenged traditional standards, influencing youth fashion and behavior. Nat King Cole, Eartha Kitt, and Cab Calloway took part in the filming of St. Louis Blues in 1958 at the Paramount Studio, reflecting the growing recognition of Black artists in American cinema. The film highlighted African American music and culture, contributing to cultural visibility during a period of racial segregation. Lena Horne and Avon Long appear in the number Liza, filmed for the musical Ziegfeld Follies in 1945, but removed from the final cut. Horne's participation as one of the first Black performers in Hollywood symbolizes progress in racial representation in Golden Age entertainment despite the limits of the time. Gloria Steinem took part in the Women's Day March in 1975, a milestone of feminism in the United States that mobilized thousands in the fight for equal rights and against gender discrimination. This event in New York strengthened the movement's visibility and pushed debates on equal pay and reproductive rights. Princess Diana took part in a memorable moment when she received the hongi, a traditional Maori greeting, during her official visit to New Zealand in April 1983. The gesture reinforced the United Kingdom's recognition of indigenous cultures and strengthened cultural ties, raising international appreciation for Maori heritage. Sigourney Weaver tested a flamethrower in 1979 during the filming of Alien, a landmark of science fiction cinema. The actress played the lead character Ripley, a role that made her a female icon in a male-dominated genre, and influenced the portrayal of strong women in later productions. Behind the scenes of the production of Star Wars in 1977, Peter Cushing, George Lucas, Carrie Fisher, and David Prowse gathered during the creation of a science fiction cinema milestone. This moment shows the collaboration that resulted in a film that changed visual effects and storytelling, influencing pop culture. Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia, appears beside her stunt double behind the scenes of Return of the Jedi, the 1983 film that concluded the original Star Wars trilogy. The scene shows the challenges of filming, especially when Leia is captured, marking a milestone in pop culture and female representation. Margaret Bourke-White, a pioneer of photojournalism, captured the imposing Chrysler Building in the 1930s, highlighting Art Deco architecture and the growth of New York. Her work changed photography by capturing the city's modern energy in iconic images, influencing generations of visual journalism. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Grace Jones took part in Conan the Destroyer, released in 1984, which reinforced the success of the fantasy and action genre in the 1980s. The work expanded the Conan saga, establishing Schwarzenegger as an action cinema icon and influencing pop culture with memorable characters and visuals. Whitney Houston emerged as one of music's most remarkable voices when she released her debut album in 1985, photographed in front of her childhood home in New Jersey, where she lived important moments. This work brought her worldwide stardom, transformed the standards of pop and soul music in the 1980s, and influenced generations. Elizabeth Taylor, one of the greatest stars of classic American cinema, was filming Giant in 1956, a work that marked an important shift towards social themes in Hollywood by addressing complex issues such as race and power. The film stood out for its unusual narrative and lasting cultural impact on later cinema. Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin acted in the 1980 film 9 to 5, which highlighted women's fight against workplace misconduct and inequality. The film became a cultural milestone by addressing feminist themes with humor, influencing debates about labor rights and gender equality in the United States. Madonna, at the beginning of her career in 1983, lived in a modest apartment on New York's Lower East Side, a neighborhood filled with emerging artists and important cultural movements of the time. This period was crucial for her development, marking the shift from anonymity to worldwide pop stardom. The production of the film Popeye in 1979 brought Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall together in iconic roles from the classic 1920s comic strip. The project marked a transition toward fantasy adaptations with practical effects, valuing acting and detailed costumes, and influencing future live-action adaptations. Linda Carter, as Wonder Woman in the third season of the 1979 series, appears behind the scenes of the episode Skateboard Whiz, which highlighted skateboard culture. The production reflected youth interest in alternative sports, helping popularize the heroine and showing how television adapted to social trends. Richard Pryor and Pam Grier, icons of 1970s cinema and comedy, were recorded at a formal gathering in Los Angeles on January 1, 1977. The image symbolizes the strong presence of African American artists in the fight for greater representation in Hollywood, opening paths in the industry. See. Ava Gardner, a star of Hollywood's golden age, was on the set of The Little Hut in 1957, strengthening her career in American cinema. The film, shot in tropical locations, reflected the era's interest in exotic themes and light romances, highlighting Gardner's sophisticated and glamorous image. Joan Jett, backstage at the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles in 1977, symbolizes the rebellion of 1970s punk rock, when women began asserting their presence in a male-dominated scene. This defiant attitude marked a cultural resistance that paved the way for stronger female presence in rock. Demi Moore appears in 1977 roller skating on the iconic Sunset Strip in Los Angeles, a cultural center of the 1970s counterculture. The scene reflects the freedom and urban style of a decade marked by social and artistic changes, while Moore was beginning her path toward stardom in American cinema. Cher, an icon of music and film, arrived at Los Angeles International Airport on June 12, 1977, in a moment captured by Ron Galella, a photographer famous for celebrity images. This period marked Cher's consolidation as a cultural symbol and the expansion of 1970s pop culture in the United States. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, former First Lady of the United States, takes the wheel of the Staten Island Ferry on July 31, 1976, marking an important new chapter after her time in the White House. The image reveals her strong connection to New York and her transition into an influential public figure outside direct politics. Bianca Jagger, known for her social activism and striking presence in music and fashion, received a special backstage pass for a Rolling Stones concert in 1975, showing her closeness to the cultural scene of the time and her role as an influential figure beyond traditional entertainment. Sophia Loren received the title of Miss Welder from the National Eutectic Welders Club in 1954, reflecting the growing role of women in industrial sectors after World War II. This recognition symbolized appreciation for women in jobs once dominated by men, showing important social changes. The marriage of Lee Majors and Farrah Fawcett in July 1973 united two major figures of American television in the 1970s, with Majors shining in The $6 Million Man and Fawcett standing out in Charlie's Angels. The event reflected the glamour and strong influence of television as entertainment and pop culture at the time. Gloria Swanson, an icon of silent film and star of Sunset Boulevard, is portrayed in her New York apartment in 1972, during a period when her image re-emerged as a symbol of past elegance and glamour. This return strengthened renewed interest in classic cinema and its cultural impact. Brigitte Bardot, an icon of French cinema and an animal activist, appears in the 1970s in an intimate portrait with her English setter dogs, taking part in the fight for animal rights during that period. Her visibility helped bring the topic into public debate, influencing animal welfare policies in France. Dolly Parton, an icon of country music, strengthened her career in the 1970s with songs that explored personal and social themes, achieving major national and international success. Her relaxed and charismatic image showed authenticity and sensitivity, opening paths for future women in the genre. Goldie Hawn, an actress of the 1970s and 1980s, represents in this scene the private daily life of a celebrity of the time. Her relaxed style and natural elegance reflected a cultural shift that valued a more approachable and human image, bringing stars closer to the public and influencing pop culture. Janis Joplin, an icon of rock and the countercultural movement of the 1960s, appears in her apartment in San Francisco in 1968, when her powerful voice and authentic style deeply influenced the music scene. Her career marked an era of social transformation before her early death in 1970. Jane Fonda acted in the Metzengerstein segment of the anthology film Spirits of the Dead, released in 1968 and directed by Roger Vadim. The work brought together adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe stories, reflecting the mysterious style and mood of 1960s European cinema, with Fonda in Gothic and psychological roles. Jane Birkin, an actress and cultural icon of the 1960s, appears during the filming of La Piscine in Saint-Tropez in 1968, a work that marked European cinema by combining elegance and psychological tension. The film reflected social changes and boosted Birkin's career as a symbol of cinema and pop culture. On the set of La Piscine in 1968, Romy Schneider and Alain Delon starred in a work that marked French cinema by exploring psychological tension and intense relationships. The production highlighted the elegant style of the 1960s and strengthened the actor's sophisticated image, influencing European cinema. Jacqueline Bisset, an English actress, represented the peak of elegance and cinema in the 1960s, reflected in 1968 in the calm of her home in Malibu Beach. Her image symbolized the style and cultural transformation of the period, marked by social and artistic changes that influenced global entertainment. Faye Dunaway acted during the filming of The Thomas Crown Affair in Boston in 1968, portraying the sophisticated urban atmosphere of that vibrant period. The film highlighted the style and culture of the 1960s in the United States, influencing cinema with its suspenseful and elegant storytelling, marking a new era in the crime genre. Debbie Harry worked as a waitress at a famous entertainment club in New York between 1968 and 1973, while seeking her artistic place before becoming an icon of punk and new wave music. This experience in a cosmopolitan setting reflected the city's vibrant social and cultural scene, influencing her career. Claudia Cardinale, an icon of European cinema, took part in the film Don't Make Waves in 1967, released during a period of cultural revolution and modernization in film storytelling. This period was crucial for films that reflected the decade's social transformations, establishing Cardinale as a leading actress. Twiggy, one of the first fashion icons of 1960s London, symbolized the transformation of the era's beauty and cultural standards. In 1966, her image with her mother reflected the peak of the youth movement that influenced clothing and behavior, marking a new era in global fashion, especially among young people. Rosalind Russell starred in The Trouble with Angels in 1966, a funny comedy about life in a convent, with memorable scenes such as her riding a bicycle while dressed as a nun. The production portrayed tensions between religious strictness and youth in a light way, reflecting the deep social changes of the 1960s. Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III took part in a Christmas party in Monaco in 1965 with young Prince Albert, reinforcing the image of the royal family in festive moments. The scene shows how the monarchy sought closeness with the public and preserved Christmas traditions that valued the continuity of the dynasty. Brigitte Bardot, an icon of French cinema and one of the major stars of the 1960s, boards in Newark for Hollywood in 1965, a crucial moment for her international career. The trip represents the expansion of European stardom into the American market, strengthening the cultural influence of French cinema on the global stage. Julie Andrews and Tony Walton appear behind the scenes of the production of Mary Poppins, released in 1964, a milestone of musical cinema that combined fantasy and music with major artistic and commercial success. The work changed special effects and elevated the actress's career, remaining recognized today as a classic of the genre. Shirley MacLaine, an American film actress, was photographed in 1962 on the set of Irma la Douce, a film that marked her career and reflected Hollywood culture in the 1960s. Directed by Billy Wilder, the work addressed bold themes, contributing to social and cinematic change after the war. Barbara Eden, an actress of the 1960s, often appeared in leisure moments, such as this scene at a bowling alley. Her popularity reflected the pop culture of the time, which valued approachable celebrities. The Company of a Kangaroo highlights typical promotional events that helped strengthen her public image. Audrey Hepburn, an icon of cinema and fashion, appears in 1960 beside her Yorkshire Terrier, Mr. Famous, illustrating the elegance and simplicity that shaped her cultural influence. In an era of social and technological advances, she became a symbol of sophistication and humanism, impacting later generations. Audrey Hepburn, an icon of cinema and fashion, starred in Breakfast at Tiffany's in 1960, a film that marked pop culture through its elegant style and the role of Holly Golightly. Filmed in New York, the feature influenced generations by portraying the struggles of the modern woman amid the city's lively energy of the time. Debbie Reynolds, an actress from Hollywood's golden age, appears beside her daughter Carrie Fisher in 1959, in a record that shows family intimacy before Carrie became an international star. This moment came before the fame that led Fisher to shape pop culture as Princess Leia, highlighting a legacy across generations. Sophia Loren, an icon of Italian cinema, shows the glamour of an era marked by the post-war period and the rise of international stars in New York, inside her Park Avenue apartment in 1958. Her presence symbolizes the rise of European talent on the global stage, influencing fashion and popular culture in the 1950s. Sophia Loren, at the height of worldwide prestige in 1958, enjoys breakfast at Cafe Reggio in Greenwich Village, New York, reflecting cultural exchange between Europe and the United States. This image shows her role in establishing Italian cinema on the global stage after the war. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, an iconic television couple of the 1950s, appear in 1957 enjoying a winter vacation with their 2 children. The image shows a relaxed family style, away from the cameras, revealing a private side of celebrities who influenced pop culture and American situation comedies. Natalie Wood and Steve Rowland take part in the traditional Thalians Beach Ball in Malibu, a charitable event of the 1950s that brought Hollywood stars together to raise funds for mental health institutions. The scene shows the social mood of the time when entertainment mobilized for public causes. The film Giant, released in 1956, deeply marked the careers of James Dean and Elizabeth Taylor by addressing social tensions and family conflicts in rural Texas. It became a milestone in American cinema by discussing racism and economic change, reflecting transformations in the 1950s and influencing future dramas. Audrey Hepburn trained in ballet in Paris with Lucien Legrand during preparations for the film Funny Face in 1956, a project that highlighted the actress beyond acting and valued dance as a central element. This collaboration showed the fusion between cinema and dance, influencing later artistic portrayals. A rare photograph of Marilyn Monroe without makeup in 1955 shows a lesser-known side of the actress, whose movie glow often overshadowed her natural appearance. The image reveals the contrast between glamorous image and personal reality, showing the pressures of the film industry in Hollywood's golden age. Cary Grant and Grace Kelly take part in a rehearsal for To Catch a Thief in 1955, a notable noir-inspired film directed by Alfred Hitchcock that captured the charm of Hollywood's classic era. The film revived suspense and established Grace Kelly as an icon before her transition into Monaco royalty. Alfred Hitchcock directed the film To Catch a Thief in the 1950s, starring Grace Kelly, exemplifying the golden age of classic Hollywood cinema. The production stood out for its mix of suspense and glamour, influencing the thriller genre and establishing Kelly as an icon of the era. Sylvia Plath, an American poet and writer, is recorded on the beach in 1954, during the period when she was attending college and building her promising talent. Her work, marked by emotional intensity and themes such as depression and female identity, influenced generations and expanded confessional poetry in the 20th century. Grace Kelly, a film star of the 1950s, appears behind the scenes of the 1954 film The Country Girl while receiving makeup from supervisor Wally Westmore. This production marked her career by showing her dramatic talent and reflected changes in women's roles in cinema at the time. Audrey Hepburn, during the filming of Sabrina in 1954, became an icon of cinema and fashion, strengthening her career after the war. This work marked the transition from classic cinema to a new era of elegant and independent female leads, influencing the culture and style of the following decades. Sophia Loren, at 18 years old in 1953, represented a natural beauty that would define her rise in Italian and global cinema. Before becoming an international star, her image pointed to the start of a path that would transform women's presence on screen, standing out through unique charisma. Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell, icons of 1950s cinema, appeared during a break in the filming of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in 1953, a film that established Monroe as a symbol of glamour and popularized the musical. The work expanded Hollywood's cultural influence and reflected changes in the standards of the time. Brigitte Bardot appears, gradually shaping the figure who would become a worldwide icon of cinema and pop culture. Still a child in Louveciennes, in the suburbs of Paris, in 1952. This phase marks the beginning of a path that would change the image of women in the following decades, influencing fashion and behavior. Loren hosted a family gathering at her Beverly Hills home with her husband Humphrey Bogart in 1951, when the couple was strengthening its iconic image in Hollywood's golden age. The setting reflected the elegance and social standard of movie stars, influencing popular culture of the time. Ava Gardner, an icon of classic cinema, took part in the filming of Pandora and the Flying Dutchman in 1951, a work that strengthened her status as a Hollywood star after the war. The film mixed romance and fantasy, contributing to changes in storytelling and strengthening her international popularity. Hedy Lamarr, Billy Wilder, and Marlene Dietrich became icons of Hollywood's golden age, reflecting the cultural influence of the 1940s. In 1948, their collaboration and presence symbolized the prestige of American cinema, established as a vehicle for entertainment and social reflection, impacting generations. Marilyn Monroe, at the beginning of her career in 1947, moved through the backstage areas of the 20th Century Fox studio when hairdressers approached her to win her over for beauty work. This phase marked her early steps toward becoming an icon of cinema and global popular culture. Marilyn Monroe, still unknown in 1947, is recorded caring for 2 babies, showing an intimate moment before the fame that would mark cinema. This image reveals her everyday side in the period after World War II, when society sought family stability, before her rise as a 20th century icon. Frank Sinatra and Eleanor Roosevelt, major figures of the 1940s, met in 1947 in an encounter that symbolizes the connection between popular culture and social activism after the war. Eleanor, a former First Lady and human rights advocate, and Sinatra, a music icon, supported causes that influenced social change in America. Bette Davis, a Hollywood actress, appears in Laguna Beach in 1947 with her third husband, Grant Sherry, in a relaxed moment of leisure after World War II. The image evokes the return of everyday life and the glamour of cinema on the American West Coast, reflecting the social rebuilding of the time. Norma Jean, shortly before taking the name Marilyn Monroe in 1946, was living through a key transition toward fame in American cinema. This change marked the beginning of a path that would bring major cultural attention, symbolizing the rise of a star whose impact on pop culture and the image of women became lasting. Lana Turner starred in Marriage is a Private Affair in 1944 during Hollywood's golden age. The film explored the struggles of marriage, a relevant theme during World War II, and helped establish Turner as an icon of classic cinema, influencing the culture of the time. Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman, stars of the 1945 film Spellbound, represent classic Hollywood collaboration during World War II. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock, the feature explored psychological themes, contributing to suspense and reflecting the tense mood of the period. Gregory Ratoff, Leslie Howard, and Ingrid Bergman, gathered behind the scenes of Intermezzo in 1939, symbolize international collaboration in the film industry before World War II. The film marked an important stage in Bergman's career, establishing her in Hollywood and influencing romantic cinema of the time. Ella Fitzgerald gained attention while performing with Chick Webb's orchestra at the famous Savoy Ballroom in 1938, a landmark in New York's jazz and swing era. This partnership boosted her career, changed the genre, and expanded the presence of women in live music, influencing later generations. Scarlett appears in a comfortable setting, wearing an apricot-colored dress and posing in a relaxed way on the bed. The soft lighting and neutral colors create an elegant, modern, and intimate atmosphere, highlighting the style of the photo shoot. Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, stars of Hollywood's classic era, acted together in the film Sylvia Scarlett in 1935, a production that challenged traditional ideas of gender and style. This work strengthened their public images and influenced cinema with its innovative approach. Mae West, alongside Adolph Zukor, president of Paramount, and director Leo McCarey, took part in the filming of Belle of the 90s in 1934, a work tied to Hollywood's golden age. The production showed studio control and West's rise as an icon, with a bold personality and courage in the face of the censorship of the time. Joan Crawford posed in 1926 dressed as Santa Claus for a Christmas-themed photo, wearing a typical costume of the time with fake fur details and a unique charm. The image shows the actress in the 1920s, when silent film dominated, and reflects Christmas traditions from the early 20th century. In 1923, the Denishon Company, a key force in modern dance in the United States, brought together figures such as Martha Graham, an innovative choreographer, and Louise Brooks, a symbol of silent film. This union reflected the growth of the arts in a time of cultural experimentation, influencing dance and stage performance in the following decades. In 1980, Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, celebrated Christmas at home in a moment captured while she opened presents in a setting decorated with Christmas traditions. The scene reveals a personal side of the artist during a period of career strength, marked by hits that influenced music and civil rights. Marianne Faithfull, a British singer and actress, is recorded in her London apartment in July 1980, during a period of highs and lows in a career marked by reinvention. Her path, which began in the 1960s, impacted pop and rock music, especially through her unique voice and autobiographical style. Joan Collins, a British actress, appears in her Beverly Hills bedroom in 1984, a moment that reflects the glamour of the golden age of 1980s television series, when her role in Dynasty established her status as a cultural icon and symbol of sophisticated Hollywood life, influencing fashion and entertainment worldwide. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.